I want to talk about the elements of an amazing lead magnet and what is a lead magnet, why you need to be really concerned about lead magnets, and also I'm going to share some behind the scenes stuff on our own lead magnet creation and hopefully provide some great value just in terms of, using our own behind the scenes, and you can kind of use that to design and make your lead magnet better. Okay, so what's a lead magnet? Well, lead magnet is, let me adjust my fan over here because it's Florida and it's already hot. All right, so what is a lead magnet? So a lead magnet is something that you give somebody and you say, give me your email address. I'm going to give you this super valuable thing. Now, there's a little bit of internal debate. And when I say internal, I mean like in here, because I read Mark Schaefer's Marketing Rebellion, and I'm very much an advocate for giving lots of value before you make asks. However, a lead magnet, some people may argue that it's the very first thing in the relationship with your client. And I would argue that if you should be changing that thinking. Offering something of value in exchange for asking for someone's email address should not be the first thing that happens in a relationship. So if they have gotten to know you, they've heard you on podcasts, they've seen you on TV, they've read about you in articles, they see other influencers talking about you, they've seen you on stage, like they've seen these indicators of authority. Then they come in because they want to learn more about you, or maybe they're following you on social media and they see that you've got a strong following and they want to engage with you. They want to find out what's next in that relationship with you. Well, they're already kind of warmed up to you. Then it would be appropriate for you to ask for their email address. Now, a lot of times, if you ask for it too soon, they're just not going to give it to you, right? And so they'll look around at your other stuff, and if your other stuff is valuable, and they can build up that know, like, and trust, and like, let's say they need to get it on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being they're going to buy your products and services, 2 means, okay, well, you're at a 2 right now, so I'm willing to give you an email address. So an email address, guys, that's currency. And I'm not going to give you currency. I'm not going to give you my email address until I feel comfortable enough. And let me tell you, historically, it used to be you could ask for an email address like at a level 0.1. You can't do that anymore. Now it needs to be like a 2 or a 3. Like they really need to feel a little bit warm to you before they're going to give that up. Why? Because we don't want junk mail. People don't like being spammed. And so it's really important that you give a ton of value first. Then you say, well, the next step in the relationship would be, let's meet for dinner or let's meet for lunch, like, to use a dating metaphor. They're not going to go on a date with you unless they feel like, that, either someone has vouched for you or they've kind of gotten to know you a little bit and they're like, okay, he's safe. And so then you would offer a lead magnet. Now, what are the elements of a great lead magnet? Well, I'll share with you that the lead magnet that we have right now is not real good. Like the lead magnet that we have on Up My Influence, it's pretty lousy, to be honest with you. We just weren't thinking. When I say me, I wasn't thinking. So I think that the, kind of the feedback and, honestly, if we're honest about the lead magnet that we've been offering, we've kind of been failing. Just simply because, you open it up, it's pretty, which is cool. And that's important. It should be attractive. Like it should be easy to digest. But honestly, it was just a bunch of blog articles put together in a PDF format. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves. So does that really move the needle in terms of, it checks some of these boxes, but for us, our old lead magnet fails at number 6. Now I'm going to go through all of these, but our high perceived value, it didn't check that box. And so people didn't feel like we really invested in them with the lead magnet alone. Like our videos and stuff, geez, that stuff's super valuable. But then the lead magnet itself, it's like, it's kind of going out on a bad first date. It's like, look, I thought I kind of liked you, based on, getting to learn about you on social media. But this first date, I don't know, man, it's not really... It didn't build up the know, like, and trust in order for this relationship to go to the next level. So they kind of stayed at a 2, maybe went up to a 3. So, hopefully, listen, we fail in business all the time. The idea is that you want to fail quickly and learn from those things and make changes and make adjustments. Nobody is a fortune teller in business. You don't have any idea what's going to work. You really don't. And you can't spend forever analyzing everything. You just have to go out and make a bunch of mistakes so you can learn. And you learn by learning from other people. You mentor, you follow the example of other people. But honestly, activity knowledge is so much more powerful than the other ways of learning. And you have the evidence to see that, okay, this lead magnet really isn't getting people to that next level in the funnel or whatever you want to call it. Okay, the relationship. All right, so what makes a great lead magnet? And by the way, I'll just say, where do lead magnets go? Lead magnets, generally you want to have them on your front page of your website. They don't have to be, but I think it's a good idea because generally people are going to your webpage after they've gotten to know you a little bit, and so they're ready for it. I would also make sure to put your lead magnets associated with your really good content, and do it after they've consumed some of that content. So you'd put it at the bottom of a blog post. They're like, wow, this dude shared some really valuable stuff. Oh, okay, now I can kind of take this self-assessment test. There's a checklist for me. There's something super valuable for me. Okay, cool. Here's my email address. Send me the thing. Okay, and they'll let you know if they're ready for it by whether or not they give you. And if you find that your opt-in rate is super small, then I don't think you've really built them up to a 2 or 3 yet. Level 2 or 3 is where they would give you an email address. Okay, and hopefully they're going to digest the lead magnet, and you're going to move them up to like a 5 or a 6. If you really do this lead magnet well and you follow these 6 steps. By the way, this is right here. I'm going to use this for my animated GIF, if I remember, so that you'll see the animated GIF and you're like, whoa, I really need to watch Josh's video. All right. So number 1, you need to demonstrate a problem. Okay. So for us, our problem that we demonstrate is that the reason that you have a low conversion rate, that you don't have a really great sales cycle. Your sales cycles take forever for people to buy your stuff. Your engagement rate in social media is not real great. You're not getting responses from influencers. Media doesn't really respond to you when you reach out. You're not getting invitations to speak at conferences like you should. Like, look, honestly, if you're successful in business, you should be getting speaker invites on the regular. And if you're not, there's a problem with your authority. Bottom line. Okay. So also podcast invites. Again, if you are successful in business, you should be getting invited to appear as a podcast guest on a regular basis. There are a million podcasts out there. I think literally. And so you should be getting invites on the regular. And if you're not, it's just, you haven't been seen in that world. It's like, a lot of times, like if you want to make it big as a speaker, well, you have to show that you are a speaker. And if you don't show that you're a speaker, if you don't show that you're media available, for example, you're not going to get invites. So, and then finally, what kind of industry accolades are you getting? Well, if you're not getting industry accolades, look, it's not enough to just produce good stuff. It's not. I mean, we deal with, creatives have this problem a lot. They just feel like, well, look, if I can just be really, really good at what I do, that's good enough. Okay. You're familiar with Michael Gerber, the E-Myth, right? So look, you can make the best pies on the planet, but if you're not out marketing and growing your business and being the spokesperson for your business, people aren't going to discover you. Okay. And so just people need to see you on those stages. Exposure is everything, right? Now, in today's environment, you can't get away with a bad product. So step 1, you need to be on those stages, but you got to back it up with a good service. You can't get away with crappy service today. Okay. People are going to call you out on it. So, and if you want more evidence on that, read The Marketing Rebellion by Mark Schaefer. Okay, so I've just illustrated the problem that we solve. Now, here's the thing. Your audience may not know that they have this problem. So it's your job to introduce the problem. Then you want to amplify the consequences of the problem. Does that make sense? So what are the consequences of having sales cycles that last 90 days as opposed to 15 days? Well, it's awfully frustrating. You just have to I mean, it's like, that's a sucky way to do business. Now, if people really respect you and they feel like you can really solve their problem, then people will buy your stuff much faster. Okay, what are the consequences of a lower conversion rate? Well, it's going to cost you a lot more money to advertise. So if you're doing Facebook ads right now and you're spending $1,000 a month and you're getting 2 sales and you're making $900, that's not good. Okay, if you're making $1,500 when you could be making $3,000 for every $1,000 invested, just think of all the money you are actively losing. Okay, it is going to take you years longer to get to the level of business that you want to, because people just don't feel like you have the authority. And so your digital barrier is getting in the way. People are not seeing the associations. People are not seeing your social proof. People are not seeing illustrations and evidence of your success. And that is a problem. And that problem is keeping you from growing at the rate that you deserve to grow. Okay, again, you could be doing wonderful 7-figure, 8-figure business a year. Okay, but honestly, if you're not actively managing and promoting your brand and being seen on stage and being seen with other influencers, being seen in the media, that is keeping you from the growth that you deserve. So, what I just shared with you is an example of amplifying the problem. And you need to do this. You need to do this in your sales funnel. You need to do this in your social media where appropriate. You're not going to, slam people over the head with marketing. But as they move down the funnel, you start, you got to be real with people. All right. And then ultimately, you're going to get to a point where people will discover that the only way to solve that problem is they need to engage with you. Right? And if they're at the DIY level because they don't have budget, that's fine. Give away a lot of super valuable stuff. But, for those who do have budget, then obviously you're going to offer products and services. Make sense? Okay, let's continue on. Elements of a great lead magnet. Number 2, you need to identify your target audience and you need to communicate to a very specific avatar. So, if your audience, who do you truly want to do business with? Let's say it's C-level execs. And so let's say Shelly would be an avatar. She's making good 6-figure income. She's the CMO for her company, or she's the CEO for her company. But yet you're a solopreneur, and the language you use and the content that you provide, your social media stuff, is kind of aimed at a solopreneur audience. We have a problem. Okay, you're going to be attracting the wrong audience who you say you want. And so you really need to be very deliberate in your communication. If you say that that's who you want to work with, then that's who you need to communicate with. Okay? The people that are the solopreneurs, like, they'll probably still follow you and engage with you, but they'll see, oh, well, here's the thing is that your target audience won't do business with you if you're communicating to the wrong audience. And what'll happen is the solopreneur audience will then say, okay, well, should I engage with Josh? And then they get in and they look at our products and services, and then they say, well, that's outside my budget, or that's not a fit. You're going to have a real problem with your sales funnel. People aren't going to buy your stuff. Okay, so you need to always make sure that your lead magnet is communicating to, number 2, your target audience. Number 3, big takeaway. So Russell Brunson talks a lot about this. He talks about the big domino. So your job, like for webinars, for example, your job is to get them, your audience, you need to move them emotionally in a way where they are convinced that there's, you need to change their thinking about something. What is the one big takeaway, the one big belief shift that you will make in them? And by the way, if you can get them to change their belief on something, everything else is going to be, honestly, is going to be a walk in the park. So for us, okay, my big takeaway when you engage with hopefully, you know, a little bit with our social media, with our content, a little bit more, lead magnet, a little bit more, webinar, a lot more. And then eventually, like, you get into our sales funnels, like, definitely, like, you are going to be convinced that your audience is going to search for evidence of your authority when deciding whether or not to do business with you. We do this. You're a consumer. You do this same thing. You know you do this. Your audience is doing the exact same thing. Before they give you money, especially if you're higher ticket sales, consumers today spend more time researching than ever before. They'll spend weeks researching you. I was gonna swear. They're gonna spend weeks researching your A, right? Before they'll ever engage with you. They will invest a lot of time, and you'll never know that this stuff is going on, right? Other than you see these view counts and, you know, you see some traffic on, you know, your social media. Like, they may never like, comment, that sort of stuff, but they're watching you, right? And so they're deciding in their mind whether or not you can solve their problem. You've demonstrated a problem, you've amplified the consequences of the problem, and then you've demonstrated that you and only you can solve their problem. So for us at Up My Influence, and by the way, on this page, if you're watching this, there's a link. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link to two things. Number one is a lead magnet, and it's going to be ugly. It's the guts. Like, we're still working on it. It's under construction. I would love your feedback on redesigning this this lead magnet to make sure that it does this stuff. Please create this with me. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I really want to make a big impact in the world. I want you to make a big impact in the world. I can't do this without you. I'm just guessing. Like, you're just guessing. Like, if you don't ask your audience, you're just guessing. Like, we don't know. Like, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make all the time, especially new entrepreneurs, is they think that they know what the market wants before the market even indicates it to them. Okay, we all want to be in the blue ocean, but you still need to do a lot of viability testing, and you need to ask questions and that sort of thing to find out, is there true, can you really demonstrate a problem? Can you demonstrate that you can solve this problem? And if you can do those two things and your audience is saying, yes, we have this problem. Yes, I need something to help. I have the desire to pay, and I have the ability to pay. Guys, if you check all those boxes, people are going to beat your door down to buy, to give you money so you could solve their problem. So again, getting back to the big takeaway. Okay, your audience will search for evidence of your authority when deciding whether or not to do business. This is ours, when deciding to do business with you. And you are losing money if you are not taking care of your indicators of authority. That's, okay, if I can convince you of that and you believe me on that, okay, you are probably, at the very least, like, let's say you don't have any budget. At the very least, you're gonna follow me on social media, you're gonna engage with me, you're gonna watch my stuff. Like, you're gonna tap in because, Josh alerted me to something pretty important, and I believe he's a pretty smart, and hopefully, I'm getting to know him, getting to like him. I kind of trust him. And once you get to the point you've got budget in your business, you're probably going to want to engage with my team and I, and because we could solve that problem. So that's my big takeaway. And so when you look at this lead magnet's all about this. So the lead magnet should uncover a problem, and it should amplify the consequence of the problem. Now, it still needs to be valuable. You can't just doom and gloom people, right? But you need to kind of get them to, it's like you're picking at a wound, right? And then they're like, oh man, that wound is causing me problem. I really need to jump on that, okay? But you also want people to feel really motivated, and you want people to say, you know what, man, I am so glad I invested my time in this, and it was a good use of time, and we want to build up where someone feels like they need to reciprocate. So if you just point out a bunch of problems, but you don't give them anything, then you haven't built up that kind of like imagine like a little thermometer going up where you're building up, boop, 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 boop. And eventually when it hits the top, people are like, man, Josh already gave me so much value. I need to give him my money. So Jeff Walker product launch formula, like that's the whole thing. Like you just give people 4 videos worth of so much value that people are like, oh my gosh, like Jeff can so solve my problem. Josh can solve so my problem. Marianne can solve all my problems. She's amazing. She's smart. Oh my gosh, I already got so many great ideas. Now it's just a question of, do I want to execute this over the next 3 years or 3 months? And so if you feel motivated enough, you want to solve it in 3 months, then you would likely then make an investment in your audience is going to make an investment in your services. So big takeaway. Number 4, this is what I need your help with. And I have some real questions around this because what we've come up with, and again, you can click below, take a look at, it's a Google Doc. And it's got some notes on there. But is it easy to digest? I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into an online quiz. And so I would love your feedback. And again, there's notes, again, it's ugly. It's not the finished product. And I hope you can kind of see beyond that. And I hope that you and I together, we can kind of co-develop this together so that you and I together, we could really impact lives. And it would be such an honor if I could get your feedback. You have my permission to not only share the things that you like, but also like any advice. Because honestly, at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, I'm guessing. All right, so is your lead magnet easy to consume? If it's something people are just they're gonna look at it and go, like our old lead magnet, like it was not easy to consume. It's just they look at it and like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? It's just a bunch of like articles and stuff. And so, if you're at the early stages of your relationship with them, then you really need to do yourself a favor and make your stuff just a lot more digestible until you build up that know, like, and trust. Because if they're only at a level 2 on the KLT, I'm gonna call this the KLT scale. If they're at a level 2 on the KLT scale, you got to make it super easy to digest for them. Get to the point, and make it so easy for them to engage with you that anybody could do it. Finally, number 5. Number 5. Build trust and establish expertise. So, does your lead magnet build trust? Like, do they? So you can't just. So for us, for example, so we've got a bunch of resources. And I'm going to write, kind of keep filling this out, little notes as to why this resource matters. And I'm speaking, and you would be speaking as an expert, as a guide, as someone that your audience should trust. And so if you can do that, then you're going to be in great shape. All right. So, does your lead magnet build trust? Does it establish your expertise? Now, for us, I think we're on the right path. I hope we are. But honestly, I need your feedback. When you go through this stuff that we've, these questions that we're asking, my notes, as to why we use these resources, the free resources. Why is it important that you've been on TV? Why do people care if you've been a TEDx speaker? Like, I've got some notes on there. Hopefully, after reading all my tips, you will look at me and say, okay, Josh is someone that I can trust. I can get you from a 2 to like a 5 or a 6. But that's, again, when you're designing your own lead magnet, that's what you want to do. Okay. And then finally, bonus, does this lead magnet have a high, I don't know if you can read my handwriting there, a high perceived value? And we talked about this already a little bit, but again, you want to build up the reciprocity, where people want to give stuff back to you. Like, geesh, I feel like at the very least, like I got so much value out of this, I want to share this with my friends. Or like if I were to have a discovery call with Josh, like I would want to just do whatever I could just to repay him. Like there have been so many people that have given me so much value, experts. Like, I started podcasting thanks to Pat Flynn. I never gave Pat a dime of my money to learn how to podcast. But you know what? I've been singing his praises for years, and I've built up a pretty big audience. And that audience knows that I really admire Pat, and I love his. Marie Forleo was another one in the early days. I mean, the value that she was giving, speaking to entrepreneurs, John Lee Dumas was another one. I mean, there's just so many people that I've gotten so much value from, and either I never gave them any money, or I bought a $10 ebook. Like, that's it. But I work tirelessly to credit those people. And so that's what you want to do. You want to give people so much value that they just sing your praises. This is how you build a tribe. This is how you build an audience of people who love to engage with you and love to advocate for you. You want hundreds and thousands of champions out there all helping you make an impact. Listen, I can't do it by myself. I'm only one person. Even with the team, we've got over 20 people on the team, but we're only 20 people. But if I had an army of people, they're like, hey, you should really watch this video from Josh. He talks about the elements of great lead magnet. Check it out. And you should really use this as a test to kind of figure out if you're doing the right lead magnet stuff. Hopefully you'll share this with somebody. You don't have to, but I would be honored if you would. And that's the goal. Like, I want to provide so much value that you would feel like this deserves to be in the hands of other people. Now, another bonus little thing is, if you make it valuable enough, you also want to make and design your lead magnet valuable in a way so that if somebody were to share this lead magnet with somebody else, they would feel like they would be seen as smart. Okay, this is a really interesting thing about like how to get people to share your stuff. People will share your stuff if it makes them, if they feel like it'll make them look good and make them feel smart. Like that the person they shared it with will say, oh, thanks, Jane. I mean, that was like really, really valuable. I'm so glad that you shared that with me. Like, and then Jane's like, wow, and that lets her know that she shared the right thing. Or it's like really entertaining, really fun, funny, that sort of thing. But it has high perceived value and it's very shareable. It's not salesy, it's not spammy, and you'll see like our lead magnet, like it's just it's just designed to move someone along. We're not going to go hard and heavy on the sale. Like in the email follow-up, then what we'll do is we'll make this part of a continuation and a path, but you have to honor the relationship where it's at. If I give you a lead magnet and then I say, now give me $4,000, whoa, Josh, way too soon, buddy. That's what you would say. And so even though we have clients that give us, they pay $4,000 monthly for our services, okay? But it would be generally inappropriate to do that at that point. It's you use the dating metaphor. It's like going on a first date and say, well, let's get hitched. What do you say? Like, that's just weird. Like sometimes that happens, I guess, in romance movies and books or whatever, but in real life, yeah, dude, that's creepy. Don't do that. So again, honor the relationship where it is. You would ask for that step and that stage in the relationship. That needs to happen, man. Like high ticket stuff, generally you're gonna have a phone call at the very least, one-on-one, person to person. Yes, this will solve your problems. They've already gone through a lot of your other materials, like that KLT, bam. Like, and if you're asking for bigger ticket, you better solve some big problems, and you really got to move that needle. So they're absolutely like at an 8, 9, or 10. That's where they're going to pay that kind of money. If you're asking for $7, it probably only needs to be like so you could take, if you wanted to, you could take them from the free lead magnet to charging them, like people call it like a tripwire, welcome mat, or whatever. I'm a little, I feel like those are kind of falling a little, I might be wrong on this. I feel like tripwires and welcome mat products, where you're charging that $7, I think those are falling out of favor a little bit. Just people are like, yeah, I've bought this $7 stuff before. I didn't really do anything with it. Didn't have like crazy enough value to people, and it's not your fault. But unfortunately, I think too many other marketers have abused the trust of consumers by selling them stuff for $7 that didn't have like the listed value. It just didn't have that in there. So people don't want to get burned again. You know, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And so kind of that sort of thing. So I would just say, just give. You got their email address, just engage now. Just work on just giving enough value. And, you know, you can automate a lot of that in a sales funnel. So anyway, stay plugged in. Because I'm going to continue to share kind of behind the scenes. This video is all about us redesigning our lead magnet. The next couple videos are going to be us redesigning our whole sales funnel. I'm going to take you through all of those processes, kind of what our thought processes are, the mistakes that we've made in the past, the failures that we've had, but I tell you that I've been learning from some very, very, very smart people, and you know, we've found some really great software. So when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can watch more videos like this. You know, when you engage, you know, let's be friends, and don't miss these upcoming videos. And if this was valuable, you're watching this on YouTube, please give me a like, a thumbs up, comment below. Really, honestly, you have my permission. Please comment below, post a link to your lead magnet. If I'm wrong, and I probably may be wrong on some stuff, comment below. Let me know your perspective on some things. I really want to learn from as many smart people as possible. And if you're watching this video, it's because you're interested in the subject. If you're interested in the subject, chances are you know a few things, and you definitely know some things that I don't know. So I'd love to learn from you. We can learn from each other. We can all grow. We can all make an amazing impact in the world. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.